Hey y'all, I hope you're doing well. So today I'm going to show you how to make this headband, turban inspired headband using the cupcake yarn. It's like a 4-way acrylic yarn, a 5mm crochet hook. You'll also need a yarn needle for the way that I'm going to do this, and a nice pair of scissors. And that is it. Now this is a relatively easy project. You just have to do a little bit of construction at the back end, but it turns out easy and it works up very, very quickly. Now this is just some self-striping yarn. It's the Karen's cupcake yarn. I don't even think they sell it anymore. I just had a couple of skeins. So go ahead and start by making yourself a slip knot and placing that on your crochet hook. Okay, once you have a slip knot on your crochet hook, give it a little tug to make sure you have a nice tension, and then you're going to do a foundation chain of 75 plus 1, so 76 stitches. Now this measures to be about 20 inches, so if you need to customize it, this is where you would do that. If you need it to be a little bit smaller or a little bit larger based off of the circumference of your head, you'd make that change right now while you're doing the foundation chain. So I did 75 plus 1 just by doing a foundation chain, and hopefully you can follow along there. Just yarn over and pull through your loop. Continue doing that until you have about 75 stitches or 76. Okay. All right, this is what it should be looking like. Just keep working until you get the desired number. And again, this is a relatively easy project. As long as you can do a half double crochet stitch and a single crochet stitch, you can get this completed. So once you have your foundation chain completed, go ahead and do a row of single crochet stitches all the way across, starting with that first stitch available. So just do single crochet stitches all the way across. Insert your crochet hook into the stitch. Okay, yarn over, pull back through, yarn over, pull through the 2. Okay, I'll show you again. Insert your crochet hook, pull back through, yarn over, pull through 2. Now this is just a single crochet stitch, and you'll have to do that a total of 75 times. Okay, and now if you worked your foundation chain and it's a little bit too tight, you may have to give it a little tug to kind of see your stitches. And then if you find that it's still hard for you to work back through, get yourself a larger crochet hook, maybe a 6.5, make your foundation chain, and then switch back to your 5mm. Okay, so while this is not a necessary step, it can be helpful if you find that you make a tighter foundation chain. So give that trick a little try, it might help, okay? Okay. And I'll just stay on for a little bit longer, getting you started on doing your first row of single crochet stitches. Okay, this is how it should be looking. Continue working until you complete it yourself all the way down the row. And here I have about 3 stitches left. I'm going to work those with you just so you can see how I'm going to get to my next row. Okay. All right, I have one more here. All right, once you have that completed, you're going to do a chain of 2. So this is what it should look like. Go ahead and chain 2, and then turn your work. And now we're going to be working a half double crochet stitch. So not in that very first stitch where you have the chain of 2. In the next available stitch, do a half double crochet. This is going to be an easy project, guys. In the next available stitch, yarn over, insert your crochet hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. Okay. Continue doing a half double crochet stitch all the way down the second row until you get to the end. And I used a smaller crochet hook here because I wanted it to look I wanted the finished product to look nice and tight. So, you know, you can always vary the stitch if you're using a chunkier yarn. Just make sure you use a larger crochet hook to correspond with whatever yarn that you're using. So this is what it's looking like. Continue working all the way down till you get to the end, half double crochet stitches. Okay. When you get to the end, you want to make sure that you get a half double crochet stitch into that chain of 2. See right there, that stitch is always a little difficult to find, but just work your crochet hook into that chain of 2 the best way that you can. You just want to have your ends to be nice and flush, okay? Looks like my yarn was spliced or cut, and that's okay. It's not gonna hurt the project. Someone had tied the yarn together. Chain 2, and then you're gonna work another, you just did 1 row, so you'll do another 4 rows of half double crochet stitches. So continue working until you get to your 5th row. Once you complete your 5th row, we will change it up some. So I'm showing you here. You want to make sure that you go into the 2nd available stitch. Now, if you choose to go into the 1st stitch, that's fine. Just make sure you do that consistently through the entire project. Okay, so I use my chain 2 as my stitch, my 1st stitch of the row, and then I continue doing half double crochet stitches all the way down. Okay, and I work my stitches pretty tight, so that's why I'm holding the strip this way. But you know, however you work your crochet project is kind of up to you. It's your technique. I'm just working mine a little bit tightly, so that is what I'm doing here. And like I said, continue working until you get a total of 5 rows of half double crochet stitches completed. Okay, all right. And here I'm just showing you a little bit more of what it will look like as you get closer to completing your 5th row. So here you're just doing half double crochet stitches. Don't get confused at the speed of which I'm going. Just continue doing half double crochet stitches, which you've already done a few times now at this point. So this is what it looks like. Okay, once you get to the end here, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and on your 6th row you're going to do a row of single crochet stitches. So just like how we started with a row of single crochet stitches, we're going to end this with a row of single crochet stitches, and that's just going to make everything look really neat at the end. So just continue doing single crochet stitches all the way down this 6th row. At the end of this, you will have your first strip, your first crochet strip. You will repeat this whole process over 1 more time. So you'll have 2 strips that are the identical size and the identical width. So this is going to measure about 20 inches long and about 2¼ inches wide. And you can change this up any way you need to, guys, okay? All right, once you've got it done, go ahead and use your scissors to fasten off the end. Leave yourself a nice little tail because we're going to use that to sew our project together. Right, once you have 2, so this is what it will look like. You have 2 stripes or strips, I'm sorry. You're just going to lay them on one on top of the other in a perpendicular way, and then you'll fold over. So you kind of see what I have here on the screen. Okay, and that's what it will look like. So it will all work together and look really great in the end. What you're going to do now is you're going to sew your ends together. So your raw ends on both sides, you're going to sew those together. And so I don't really like to sew on camera because I like it to be really neat and lined up, but I will get you started. So basically you're just going to make sure your raw ends meet using that tail that you left. If you didn't leave a tail, that's fine. Just cut yourself some string and then you're going to sew. Using your yarn needle, just sew along that raw edge, making sure that you pick up a stitch from both sides, and then once you're done, you're going to sew it all together. So you'll end up sewing a total of 3 times, but they're really quick areas that you're sewing because this is only 2.5 inches wide. Okay, so see here what I'm showing you. You're going to just sew along the edge, the raw edge there. And then you'll sew everything together. . 'Cause Okay, I'm just kind of working it, trying to see, make sure it all fits together nicely. Okay, so off camera, I've already sewn one side, as you can see here, and I go down and I go back up again, and I'm going to show you here on this other side how I get started. All right, so just make sure that you pick up a stitch from both sides. Insert your yarn needle. Okay, and then you're just going to sew across. So I sewed down and then I sewed back up again just to make sure everything stays nice and secure. See how that's looking. I don't know if the camera, if you can see everything. I've got a different camera angle for this video, but you can leave me feedback if you like the other angle better. I'm just trying to find different positions to video and crochet. So you see here, and it's a very simple stitch and it's very quickly done because again, this is a very small area that we have to sew. All right, once you have your ends sewn together, you're going to just make sure that your knot and everything looks the way you want it to look. And then you're going to end up sewing the two ends that you just sewed. You're going to sew those ends together. Just like that. And I won't do this on camera. I just wanted to make sure that it was really nice and tight. And so I did it off camera so I could kind of hold it over my lap and really work the stitches fine, you know. So that's what it looks like. So just pick the side that you want to be your top side. Not that it really matters too much, but I did sew mine down a little bit. So once I determined where I want my knot to be, I did some little stitches in there just to make sure everything stayed nice and neat and together. So this is what it looks like. I kind of spread out the two strips so that we're a little bit wider, and then I just sewed the sewed some of those areas together. I didn't sew all the way across. I just kind of did 2 or 3 stitches. I sewed them together. So as you can see here, so there's still spaces. I just wanted it to stay consistent. So every time I wear it, it kind of looks the same. So anyway, that is pretty much it. That is my headband inspired, or my turban inspired headband. This is what it looks like when I'm wearing it. This was a really fun project. Super quick, guys. Super quick. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.